Good morning. It's Barbara here, Mud to Art, the Clay Room in Baltimore, Maryland, USA, in case you haven't watched before. Um, so, um, Sheila at Collie Pit had asked, and I was going to do this anyway, but since she asked, it spurred me to actually remember to do it. She wanted to see how I make um, all my leaf dishes, which I have been totally obsessed with, from these huge hosta leaves that I have in my front yard. It started when I found it was larger than this. I like to hike in the parks and take photos of the birds and all those things. And I found a huge, I don't know, is this a maple leaf? Anyway, it was like really big, and I thought, ooh, I want to do something with that. So I brought it home and ended up it made a large bowl. So then I became obsessed with finding leaves. And I even had one of my students from one of the workshops said, "There's a bunch of leaves on the hill at the college where I work. I'll go up and get you some." And she brought me a bunch of these, which I'm still working with. But I'm walking up my own front steps one day and I look down. We have hostas in our front yard, and we have a bunny. And I found out that bunny poop is actually the best fertilizer. So all last year, well, 2024, I was throwing bunny poop out in the gardens, under my tree, in the garden out front. And I looked down, and the hostas this year, I mean, I knew they were huge, but it didn't register with me about the leaves. Gigantic, gigantic. So then I waited till the fall, when I won't take them and kill them. I wait till the fall when they're all dying, and then I pulled some, and I have been making hosta bowls, hosta platters, and then the last video that I made yesterday is a hosta leaf bird feeder. But today I'm going to show you how I make the bowls, the platters, or whatever I've used the leaves for. So first, this leaf is very dry, and that's okay, because I found that if you just get these really dry, brittle leaves, I'm going to take it over and I'm going to run it under water for a minute or two and then set it aside. So I'm going to adjust this. I don't know if you'll be able to see me, but I'm going to head over there and I'm going to run this under water and soften it up. It'll soften right up and become more, not so brittle, so that it won't break apart when I'm when I'm rolling it on the thing. So it's nice and wet, and I'm going to wrap it in some plastic till I'm ready for it, so it can soften a little bit. I'm going to use the smallest hosta leaf first, and I still have one hosta leaf. This is the last hosta leaf, and this little thing has been so generous to me. I mean, I talk to them; they are living things. At least they were. Um, she has made, I don't know how many dishes, and she's still, I used her again yesterday to make two parts for the bird feeder, and I still can use her again. So I can't get rid of her quite yet. I'm going to make another little platter or bowl out of her, and that's what I'm going to show you first. So I use these are actually the large paint stirring sticks, and they are 7 millimeters, which is just a hair over a quarter inch. And I use them because the regular um, roller guides that you get sometimes aren't long enough to for the biggest piece when I have the really big leaves. Now this one, they would have been long enough, but that's okay. And then I have this lovely my son. So I taught for 6 years, or well, from 2019 till July of last year of 2025. I was 25. I was teaching in Anne Arundel County in their high school performing visual arts program, and I taught ceramics. And I had like 20 kids. And anyway, we were making a project that required very large slabs. And so I asked my son if he could make rolling pins big enough. And he made me four of these. So there was one at each table. And these are amazing. So I love having these rolling pins, because my regular rolling pins, if it gets any wider than like this, it won't stay on the slabs. So anyway, so first we're going to roll this out. I like to get it started where I know it's going to be wide enough. And then I don't do that direction anymore. I do the direction that to make it long enough. Because I tend to end up with, um, if I don't make myself conscious of how wide it needs to be at first, and then work on making it long enough, I end up sometimes where it's plenty wide enough, but I don't have enough left to make it long enough. So that's how I do it. Oh, I should put this down just a little bit so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. So I was watching Cindy, Cindy from Cozy Pods, I believe. Where did I put my little notebook? Yeah, no, Cozy Mountain this morning, and she did a studio tour talking about how messy her studio was, and she figured if she showed it to everybody, it would make her clean it and that. So I told you this is reality TV in my intro. If you were able to find it, I don't know what happened to it. I think it's under the reels or whatever instead of the videos. But this is reality TV. I don't edit my videos. I don't really know that much about it, and I just like to film it and show it. So, anyway, I am probably going to do that so that you actually see the reality of what I work in, which we are working on trying to get it organized. But my studio is in the back of the basement of a row home, a 2-bedroom row home. So it isn't a huge house. I mean, it's big enough if you don't have all this stuff. Um, But in the back of the basement, I deal with the furnace, the water heater, a toilet, because this used to actually have a little bathroom that was walled off. The walls are gone now. The washer, the dryer, and of course my kilns and the staircase. So it's like I'm trying to figure out how to make all this fit in the space and have enough floor space that I can move my classes and workshops down to the basement out of my dining room. And I only can do like 6 people most in a workshop or a class because I have 6 dining room chairs and that's all that fit around the table. But anyway, I'll get to that. I'll show you that later where I do the workshops in another video. But so right now it is a mess and I will show everybody in another video. Okay. So I have rolled my slab and I'm trying to get it where you see it, but now I'm going to compress it, of course. I'm going to compress this side. And if there's any air holes, this is Reclaim Cone 5 clay. I think it's probably 153 standard, but it may have a little Laguna B Mix 5 in it as well because I was throwing and I was just trying to use whatever clay I had. And I didn't have like full bags of either, but the scraps all went in the same pot. All right. And then I'm going to put a piece of plastic on it and try and make it as smooth as possible so it doesn't make all kinds of wrinkles on the back. That's so I can easily turn it back over when I need to. I'm going to flip it over and compress this side. I'm trying to figure out how to put you where you can see the whole thing. Maybe you need to go back there. The water heater is right behind the camera. So is that better? I think maybe. Okay. So I have my lovely leaf here, but I have to compress this side first. You know, I should have decided, well, I do have molds nearby, if this was going to be a platter or a bowl so that I have the mold ready. But I have some bubbles here because of the Reclaim. Didn't get them all. Make sure I get them. That's a lot of bubbles. Okay. All right. So now I take this beautiful leaf, the texture side down where all the veins, you can feel the veins. It's not the smooth side. And just center it where I want it and gently press it. Now she is a little dry, but she is still being very, very cooperative. And I even put the stem down because when I cut the stem out, I roll it up into a little handle sometimes. All right, that's down pretty good. Now, where's my other piece of plastic? I guess I'll undo the leaf for a minute. Oh, he's good. See, he's very flexible. He's not all brittle. Okay. So I'm going to put the plastic over the leaf, smooth it out, and then I can use a smaller rolling pin for this, obviously. I'll just use this one. It's easiest to get. So I roll it in, and I'm pressing pretty hard because I want to get all the beautiful veins, the texture, and the design. I just think, I don't know, I just think it's so beautiful. Of course, I think nature is beautiful, and I love all living beings, even the plants. So I try to be as kind as I can to them. When I'm finished with these, I don't just throw them in the trash. I put them back in the yard where they were. I don't know. I just think it's better for them. All right. So I've got my leaf really pressed in there. I'm going to turn it back over to the back. And you're probably saying, well, why didn't you put your stamp in first? That's because when I would press the leaf, it would press the stamp out, and then I would have to do it again anyway. So I turn it over, and let's see, what happened to my stamps? Oh, here they are. I don't have my favorite one. My son 3D printed some stamps for me, and I used it. It was very fine and really beautiful, but it broke in half, and the B, you probably can't see that. The B on my last name broke off. So, but we have to wait till the temperatures warm up for him to make me a new one, because his resin printer, which is what he makes these stamps out of, won't function in the cold, and he has it out in a shed that is not heated. So I can't get a new stamp for a while, but luckily he had made me two different kinds because he didn't know what kind of font I wanted. So I'm using this one, but I love that one. This one is fine. I just prefer that style. And of course, he had made me a year stamp, but I can't use it anymore because it's 2025, and he hasn't been able to make a new one because of the cold. We are like, and right now we are in the midst of a real cold front. So it's like 19 degrees out and it feels like 8 or something. It's really cold. I can't find what I'm looking for. Oh, well, a pen will do. I'm just going to write 2026. And then I'm going to put the plastic back on. And again, I'm going to make sure it's nice and smooth because I don't want, when I decide what I'm going to do with it, I don't want the back to have all kinds of creases. So just taking the rib and lifting the plastic up gently all the way around and running it out from the middle to the edge makes it nice and smooth, and the bottom of the dish will be very smooth. There. Okay. So now I flip it again. And we're going to take this plastic off the top, and we're going to cut our leaf out. And I cut it out just exactly as it is because I want it to be its actual form. So up here where it is, I don't know, can you see that? It's got a little place. I mean, she is getting worn out. She has a torn place there, but I'll cut that out and we'll just make that part of the design. So I'm going to cut out I cut the stem as well. I will probably cut some of it off. I don't want it, it may not be that long. Depends on how it curls around. And I just follow and make sure I get all the little nooks and crannies of the edge where it's been dry and little pieces broken. I even have one bowl that the leaf had been nibbled by somebody, and so I cut that part to show the nibble. And inside our little broken part. Whoops, get right by the edge. I want to really make it true to the leaf, not just cut around it. I want it to have all its little nooks and crannies. Okay, and then you can just peel that away. Let me see if I can get this out easier, this piece. There we go. I don't think that cut through. Let me cut this through here. Sorry, I'm talking to myself instead of you. Okay, so our leaf is cut out. Got a little bit too much there. Okay, and I am going to take my fingers and slightly soften that sharp edge. And I meant to do it on the back too when I cut it out, but we can do that. Just go along the edge of it so it's not so sharp. You can always fix it later at leather hard too, but I like to make sure I don't have sharp edges. Okay, all right, so here's our beautiful little leaf. And now, is it going to be a platter or is it going to be a bowl? Let's see how the bowl works. Let me see. Not sure. That one, I don't think I will push it. It'll damage it too much to make it that round. What else we have? I guess we can go with this. This will make it a combination of will make it a long dish. So this is just from the Dollar Tree, but the texture is on the outside, this little dish. So inside will be nice and smooth on the back. So I'm just going to plop her in there. And then very gently, and I do it very gently because, like I said, if I'm careful, I can use these at least twice. But this little girl, I'm telling you, she's still, oh, there we go. She broke that time. This may be her last one, but I must have gotten, this might be like the fifth one I got. It is, because I did two before I did the, look, I could even really use it again if I wanted to. She is amazing, this leaf. So there is the dish, and I'm going to take the stem and decide how I want to make the little, I think I'll leave the whole thing as long as it is and fold it around like that. And that will be another hosta leaf dish. So she's going to get set aside. We have a big platter over here drying along with the bird feeder. And now I'll do it with, I mean, you know how to do it now, but I might as well show you with the other leaf. So where's my big roller? I'm going to roll this wider first. a little bit this way. Make it go wider up here where it's too narrow. Nope, I'm losing my mat. That's right. There we go. I try and get it so it isn't skinny at one end so that I'm sure it will fit the whole thing. Probably needs wider for this leaf. This is a wide. Well, let's see, how wide is he? Okay, a little bit wider there, and it doesn't have to be a whole lot longer. Nope, knocking the camera. Move you a little bit. Let's see if that's wide enough for the widest part. Just about. So now it will widen a little as I go up. Banging the tripod with the rolling pin. It's so long. This guy will be a bowl. The maple leaves make nice bowls. I think it's a maple leaf. I should really look it up. If you know what kind of leaf it is, tell me. But I'm pretty sure it's a maple. Could be wrong. I do have one of those Vevor, I think that's how you say it, cold press laminators to use as a slab roller. And it works pretty well, but for something this easy, it's not worth the trouble. And besides that, when I show you the studio, you'll see that I can't even see it. It's underneath a pile of stuff. So this is the house I grew up in, actually. And this basement, when I was a child, had been finished. They call them club basements. And there was 2 rooms. The front room was paneled and had the TV and a sofa and recliner and stuff like that. And the back room has the laundry, and we had shelves back there where our toys went. But my son and his wife lived in the house. It is their house now, but and they were in the process of going to do something to the basement, and they ripped all that out. And then I needed to move back in and with my mother because of a separation, and she had Alzheimer's, and she had been living with us then, but then I had to bring her. Oh, look, that's plenty big. Okay. Anyway, so the basement didn't even have, I mean, it was down to just nothing. The walls, the paneling was all gone. And then we moved all our stuff in, and I had a school for a while, which, lucky for me, I ended up closing it in 2019, 18, and because it would have gone under during COVID anyway. So, and I had to bring all that stuff here, and so and I still haven't had time to sort it all. But there's tons of stuff that can't fit in here unless I really figure out how to consolidate. So that's what I'm working on. But every once in a while, like when I want to throw, I have to go over there. My wheel I did clean off the other day, although I see I didn't clean out the drip pan so that I can throw again. But everything went on top of the slab roller. So, all right, so I put my leaf on, texture side down, make sure. Feels kind of bumpy, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I did it the right way. Yeah. And I'm going to roll it in. Oh, did I compress this? I didn't. Well, this will compress it. I think it'll be fine. doing this will certainly compress it. All right. Which means I did not put the plastic on the other side. So I'm forgetting what I'm doing here, folks. But you know the routine because you saw it before. So I will compress this side, and the leaf is already in there, so it'll not mess it up. All right, in goes the name. And I didn't always put a date, but I do now because I actually, when I started with my working from home again and teaching, somebody said they wanted to make, I have a large bowl that I had made for Thanksgiving one year, and they wanted to make it. And I'm like, I don't have that actual, it was a slump mold. I used a bowl that I got at the Dollar Tree or restaurant store, and it had all this texture anyway. I pulled it out and I had made it in 1998. I said, yeah, I'm sure I don't have that anymore. But anyway, all right, so we're ready to flip it back over. We're going to now put our plastic on. So, but anyway, about the date, it was just fun to see that that was when I made it. So every once in a while, when I pick up a piece of pottery that I had actually dated, I'm like, wow, I made that long ago, huh? So, okay, that's nice and smooth. Flipping back over. We're ready to cut him out and turn him into a bowl. So we're going to take this off. Get our little X-Acto here. And again, now these have a lot more. On these, the stem, if you can see, I cut it wider because these stems are so narrow that, so I'm following the outline of it, but I am making it wider. But the rest of it, I cut exactly as best I can to the leaf. And these have lots of wavy little areas. And he has a little cutout here. So I'm going to cut that. Look, he's got another one here. I don't know why this is a he and the hospice a she, but that's what it feels like to me. This is kind of very meditative when you're doing this, just following the shape of it. And because it has so many intricacies, it takes your focus, and it's just very calming to me to do this. And back up here, and I'm almost finished. There we go. Okay, time to reveal our beautiful leaf. This clay is very soft. Oh yeah, what did it do? Well, it lost the, I have to redo the stem. Sometimes I can't keep the stems because it just won't work. I have to make that another cut. Could be because this clay is so soft. I may have to deal with that later. But I like it nice and soft. I mean, it doesn't have to be quite this soft, but that way when I go to slump it into a bowl, I can manipulate it easily without it cracking in that, because it has quite a bit of a bend when you're trying to turn a leaf into a bowl, and with all these little appendages, I guess, maybe not appendages, but since they stick out like that, these are definitely more complicated to cut out than the hosta leaf. Make sure I got all the way through, because sometimes I didn't. So, yeah, it didn't go all the way through. This is a tiny little piece to get out. But I also don't mind cutting out all these little places where it has ripped or been eaten, because then when you're trying to make it a bowl, it actually gives it a dart to form the shape. Over there. And I need to touch up this part here, this poor stem. I may not be able to keep the stem. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Yeah, it's just how it goes. But we'll see. Angle this out of here. There we go. All right, there's the stem. Just a little out of. And we have the leaf. Now again, I'm going to, I usually can put this over it and just try and make sure the edges aren't too soft, too sharp. Because boy, when this dries, those sharp little points would really be dangerous. Okay. So, Mr. Leaf, you are going to be a bowl. Now, let's see what kind of bowl you're going to be. And then, should I try this one again? Or should I put you in something bigger and make you more shallow? Let's see how this does in the bottom of this. This might be too big. It won't be round enough. Okay, that's a start. And then maybe we can, now that he's started being rounded, we can put him in this and make him a more enclosed bowl where we can actually use it. Maybe not. We'll see. I need something just a hair bigger. And I don't seem to have a bowl the right size. So I guess you'll go back to being this. It just won't fit in there. It'll ruin it too much. I need something a little bigger than this for this size leaf. So back to here. So you can see I'm just pressing him in gently. And let's see if we can get this off. Now, this leaf is definitely going to rip. But these leaves tend to be more brittle than the hosta. And a lot of times I just have to wait until it's drier so that I can try and peel it off. And sometimes I can't get it all off until it's bisque fired. But as it dries, some of this will pick up. See, it wouldn't pull out. So we'll just let him sit and I'll work on getting him off later. And he's just like a shallow dish. So obviously you could put, dry things in here if you were using it. But, bread and things like that. But obviously nothing that's going to run out all over the place. It's more of a platter, a shallow dish. Anyway, that's how I do it, and hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please like. And if you haven't, would you please subscribe? And I'll let you see them after they're fired. Okay, bye.